Okay. Now. We got Chad up there. John Harvey is guest.
Also, every board is Google.
Yeah, that's all right. We make him,
Bring him in.
let's see, change role to make co-host.
An empty seat there.
All right, John Harvey and Chad are attendees. You guys hear us? You hear us, Chad?
Yeah, I can hear you.
John?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that's it.
All right, let's rock and roll. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Waterways Board meeting on December 14th, 2022. In attendance tonight, we have Bob Alves, Karen Tibbetts, Peter Feinstein. How would you like to say it, sir?
Live in New York, it's fine. Live up here, it's another.
Okay. How do you prefer?
Einstein.
Feinstein, yes, sir. We have Peter Young, we have Phil Cusimano, myself, Steve LeBlanc, I was gonna say myself, Tony Gross. We have Tony Gross, we have Leslie Pacheco. On the call, we have Chad Johnson, and we have John Harvey dialing in today. First item is oral communications. Is there anybody that would like to speak on oral communications? You have up to 3 minutes. Is there anybody online? Any visitors besides Chad?
No.
All right. All right, nobody here for oral communications. Next item, we have approval of minutes. Has everybody reviewed the minutes from our last meeting? Any changes? I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes from our last meeting.
So moved.
Moved, we have a second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Phil, seconded by Peter Young. Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, we have to do a roll call. So I'll do a roll call. Bob?
Yeah.
Peter Young?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Steve? Yes. Peter Feinstein?
Yes.
Captain Bill?
Yes.
John, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
motion passes on a roll call vote of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yes.
7 in favor. And we don't have anybody absent. I want to put on the record that Joe Crowell is no longer part of the Waterways Board. He has moved out of town, so he is not qualified to be a representative on the Waterways Board. So we're gonna have to fill his vice chair seat probably at the next meeting. So motion passes on a roll call vote. It's unanimous. Next, we have the Harbor Master update. TJ?
Nothing too new from the last time. Just working on reissuing moorings and stuff like that. Had pretty heavy into the admin. Starting to type up some of the amendments that we're gonna have to change here that we voted on last time, but I haven't pushed anything through yet. Because I'm waiting for these decisions to be made tonight. Yeah, the loan order, or not the loan order, but the launch went to the, it should be coming up in the BNF on your guys' next.
We go through the mayor's report.
I went through the mayor's report. You guys council last night?
Yeah, we council last time, we don't.
Yeah, you don't, it doesn't go
No.
until after the new year.
Yeah, January.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's all right.
so I am working with John Dunn. I gotta call him in the morning, to get the public hearing notice out now.
Yep.
So there's no delay. The manufacturer gave me a pretty hard date of December 15th, but talked to the owner and said that I gave them a timeline. They said the intent, there's good intent there.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we really got to hammer all these dates out. There can't be too much kicking this around or it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we got that meeting in so that we.
So I'll let everyone know when it goes to BNF, probably get some people to show up. It's on
Okay.
Zoom. In support of it.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Next item, we have Solomon Jacobs commercial usage.
So we talked about this last time, gave everybody a little time to think about it. I do have the ordinance for public landings. It is gonna take an ordinance change from what I can tell. It says conducting business or soliciting for public landings, 1052. It shall be unlawful for any person to conduct any business, including vending on any form at a public landing. The sale of tickets or soliciting for passengers in any other manner for boat or fishing trips from public landings is prohibited. However, any person operating a harbor sail, ferry, excursion vessel, vessel livery, or party fishing vessel, but maintaining a wharf headquarters or principal place of business elsewhere may use the public landing as a port of call to discharge and take on passengers. To me, that means you need to have a place of business somewhere else. You know, have a, your headquarters to your business needs to be someplace else.
Right.
So, the vessel engaged in such ventures shall not lie on any float or public landing longer than reasonably necessary to pick up occupants. You shall not block or interfere with other permitted activities. So I think this probably will take some change to the ordinance. We're going to prohibit it at Solomon Jacobs. I don't know how you start. I don't think I'm in the business to try and prove that you have headquarters somewhere else.
Well, principal headquarters could be when the building inspector issues a business license. I'm a DBA. I have it out of my house. I have a shop somewhere, so you could have a DBA coming out of your house. That's my business headquarters.
Sure.
So, I mean,
I don't know how that works for charter boats or.
right.
Yeah, I did it for a little extra business out of my house.
Yeah, so it's technically legal if they have a
Yeah.
mailing address.
So we're gonna have to probably amend this, or look to amend it if we're looking to.
So why don't we, we're not gonna
We're gonna
move on
vote
this
probably
tonight.
vote on, no,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Why don't we put this on our January agenda for a vote? So that way we can get it through the council and it'll be up and running before this.
Yeah, I'll get some language together.
Yeah, for this
For us to vote
season
on.
coming up.
Steve, so you have a charter business, you can have a DBA out of your home, your
Absolutely.
residence,
Absolutely.
I did for my lobster.
Yeah, as long as my boat's not stored at my house
right?
or Tony with the traps and
Well, I
stuff
had
like
the
that.
trap store at the house.
Yeah, you gotta, there's certain provisions you have to follow with
Yeah.
the building inspector. But yeah, so that's kind of a loophole where they do have a business running out of their business, out of their house. Boat somewhere else or whatever, so
Most of
technically.
them.
And their vessels are berthed elsewhere too. I mean, they're berthed in another marina, ostensibly.
Yeah, so they're by right, they're allowed to do it, but I think what we're talking about is kind of freeing up all this stuff because there's a lot going on down here.
Yeah, I mean, there's other places to do it. We're just looking at this one specific area that, again, is really the only intended area for any recreational tie-up inside the entire
Right.
Gloucester Harbor.
And it's downtown, it's
It's
prime.
downtown.
All right, so why don't we put this on our January agenda and have a vote up to council, and that way we can get the ordinance changed.
I'll have some wording.
Yeah, and it's gonna probably take a couple months up at council, kicking around, and then come back. And it'll be ready for prime time before this season starts.
Sure.
All right, next item, we have,
Can I,
yes, sir, Tony.
Mr. Chair, I will, since I was here during the whole thing, work through the Division of Marine Fisheries with this. I will try to locate the actual agreement that we had for the grants or the grant specifications, which may have language in it that will help guide this. So I will check in on that this week and then get it. Do you want to have a public facilities meeting?
Yeah.
In between now and your January meeting is my question.
We can do that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a statement, but it's really a question. Obviously, there's a problem. I mean, you have these charter boats, they need a home, there's no home. I understand
Yeah.
your frustration, TJ, 100%. And I can imagine with the new influx of transient boaters that love tying up at that dock. You know, 4 hours is great. You can go up, you can hit Tono and be back, have drinks, have a great night. You're at the dock, you're out of here, in between all the charter boats. But when I look at the problem, I also look at the building center and that, you know, I call it priceless property down right next to I-4C2. I know it's not in our wheelhouse, but, and I say this, Tony, with respect, but the Harbor Planning Committee,
It's private property. That's all I can tell you, private property.
you all said them.
That's it, that's it. You can chew on it.
You don't
but
think
it's
that we
private
could
property.
approach them and ask if we could lease, I'm looking down the road,
I hear they are
Down the-
already moving forward.
just with a
on-
bulkhead, they're just working on the bulkhead, that's it.
Yeah.
But I know, I'm just putting this out there that,
Maybe down the road, but
if we could look at.
Yeah.
I mean,
I spoke with their attorney. I spoke with their attorney during the last election cycle, and they said they were still potentially interested in pursuing something in that nature, but without any details further than that. What he did.
Thank you, and just to end it, my point is that if it's something we could lease and have a ramp from I-4C2 down to that property, I don't think we're gonna put a marina. But just have charter boats there, including schooners, it's just food for thought. That's all I wanted.
No, it'd be nice if we can help them, but you know, the Waterways Board, I hate to sound like this, but you know, it's not our responsibility to make sure charter businesses and everything else. It's ideal to help everybody. But we have our grants that state specific things. And we have, you know, what we have is a 5-star rating on.
pretty close, yeah.
Pretty close to that with transient and stuff like that, so. We gotta focus on what's in front of us and we'll try to see what we can do to, if things get displaced, and if we can help out, we will, if we can. You know,
We're not gonna do that, it's just this one specific area.
Yeah.
It's just too busy to have anybody who wants to, with a captain's license or not, so we found out this summer, to run a business out of Solomon Jacobs Park. I mean,
Right.
parking, using the facilities, paying no money into the enterprise fund at all to use this. And again, the entire port is a designated port area, designated for commercial use for the most part. This is the only dock that is designated for recreational, and that was its intended use. You missed it a little bit last time, but just to catch you up, is this place got out of control with charter boats, freaky tiki,
Yeah, I've seen it.
paddle boats,
Yeah.
dive boats. Joe Blow on a 6-pack license doing a charter, Rick Miles on his big charter sailboat out southeast, and it just got towed.
Joe Blow without a license.
Oh, without a license, which we found out, just got
Yeah,
crazy,
I
so
watched
this
it.
place turned from,
Yeah.
you know, recreational tie-up for transients or for locals to just everyone using it as a business, which also turned into a giant liability problem, where now you have people getting off these boats on public landings, and we had 2 incidences where people filed claims this summer, which inevitably drives our rate up, which it did again, our premium. So it's, you know, twofold thing. We want to kind of get away from that here. And other places, there should be some kind of application process to be using public landings for commercial use, i.e. for hire, which means you would have to maybe pay a nominal fee. I don't think it needs to be anything too crazy, but some kind of fee, administrative fee, and then you would add the city as additionally insured.
Yeah.
And that's, well, we already do that at the commercial
Yeah.
marinas. So you can't have a boat at St. Pete's and not have the city as additionally insured on your policy, because if your boat sinks or you get hurt, that's on your insurance policy, not ours. So that needs to happen. It got really crazy here, not to mention the wear and tear, having to man it. I mean, it was nuts here this summer.
Yeah.
With that. So that's kind of the backstory on it.
So
So we're not looking to displace anybody, but I think we gotta have one spot that's designated for the intended use.
Yep.
Which is what we've all worked so hard trying to achieve, so that'll kind of come up here in a minute here on the next one, but.
all right,
So I'll get some language together, what I propose, we'll take a vote on it.
okay.
Public facilities can meet on it or something, but not, we don't have a lot of time from now to January, but.
All right, Waterways Board, let's see, itemized fee increase motions, seasonal launch passes. We already did all this, right?
Well, we didn't do the pass and
Oh,
boat
right.
ramp last time. We
All right,
left it
yeah.
off. That's why we're here.
All right, so that's right. So seasonal launch passes.
You have the notes from that, Bob?
Say what?
You have the notes from that? What came out of public facilities?
No, no. witness.
Yeah, I had them last time. I didn't bring my laptop with me.
I got them here. I think I got them somewhere here. Bob, you can recap on it if you want, but launch passes. We went over last time. The launch has taken an absolute beating as far as what we're losing in revenue. Again, it was never intended to be this profitable business venture that we went into. The prior administrations, prior Waterways Board, wanted to buy a launch, saw it as an asset, to get people in and out of town via the waterfront. So renting a mooring, we don't have dockage here, and the launch would bring them in. That's been a very successful venture as far as usage goes, not so much on the profitability side of the house. But there is some opportunity to expand the Southeast Harbor mooring field. But we have to have another launch, which we're working on. I can't add moorings and add to the wait times of the current launch schedule now. And it's gotta be, the number's gotta make a little more sense. So right now it's $150.
$5 per ride.
$150 for the season for a launch pass. That's pretty cheap. We looked pretty much everywhere. There's not really any other municipalities running a launch. It's mostly private business. Salem would be comparable, and I think, what were they charging? Do you remember? It was like $800.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I think it was $800 for season pass. We're not trying to go that high on this, but it has to be somewhat reasonable. $150 just isn't really cutting it. Launch is losing like $40,000 a year, which is quite a bit enterprise fund. So we want to try to soften that a little bit. And obviously all expenses are up, so we need to try to make up for some of that. And I think out of public facilities, we decided that $350 was the price for the launch pass. So I think that was the motion that came out of public facilities. I recommended to the board to raise the launch price for season pass to $350.
Right, and we went a little high. Still gotta go to council, budget and finance. Might get kicked around a little bit, but we went that price. We were comfortable with that price. If it comes back at 3, still feasible.
It's still, yeah,
TJ, how many did we go last year approximately?
it's about 80, but every transient that comes in here is using that as well. But there's opportunity to sell pretty much if you sign up somebody for the Southeast Harbor mooring. I would say 95% of the time they sign up for the launch, because that's kind of how they're gonna get there. There's no dinghy spots available, everyone's full. So unless you live in Rocky Neck and you have access to the water with a boat, you're gonna use the launch. So we got at least 30 or 40 more spots to put out there. That's another 30 or 40 launch passes potentially, even if, it was 90% of the people, you're still looking at another 30 passes. So it makes sense. And with the additional launch, we're gonna have to have it make more sense revenue wise. We're not gonna run that boat nonstop. It's gonna be alternate running with the other one, and then peak weekends as we see fit. If it's gonna rain on a Saturday, I'm not gonna stop it, but it'll probably be Saturday, Sunday from, I would say, July, August, September. It's really not too busy here before Fiesta. Bulk of our transients are those 3 months.
Yeah.
July, August, September. So they'll be run all weekends.
That's still a good deal.
It's still a good deal. I mean,
Right.
$350 to use the boat at your whim, 7 days a week for 100 something days.
Up to Columbus
I mean, if you
Day.
break it down,
Yeah.
it's like 50 cents a ride.
Right.
It's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And we, by ordinance or by policy, I don't know if it's by ordinance, we're supposed to, we run Memorial Day to Labor Day. But we've been running the launch on a modified schedule till Columbus Day.
I don't think you're gonna find a cheaper launch service.
No,
Yeah.
you're not.
I don't think you're gonna have any problem with that money, because years ago when we requested having a launch service, it was economic input for the whole entire city.
Right.
And so that was really important to all businesses.
Yeah.
So I don't,
You know, and
I
that's
don't think that-
kind of the deal with it too. It is the economic business and Tony brought up a good point last time is as far as the city on a green standpoint too, is you have all these less, you know, dinghies, outboards, boats, motors, gas, oil for people going back and forth. Now you're just running one tier 3 compliant diesel motor that's pretty fuel efficient and it's a tier 3 compliance, so the emissions on it are really good. So there's that standpoint of it too, the city, you know, cutting down on emissions of other boats.
Yeah.
So,
It was smart to start low, you establish that service, everybody loves that service.
sure,
yeah,
So raising the price is not really hard.
sure.
I mean, it's good business to start low like that.
Yeah,
Bump it up, people get to, plus you bring in other boats, so the services can be improved. I think
Sure.
and I'm not, I'm a guy who uses it, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a great service. I mean, it's just, you know, right now, it's too busy, you know, which isn't obviously planned for that. And again, this is never gonna be a money maker, but it's gotta do better than it's doing now. And I think we can soften those numbers by having a second boat, adding some moorings out there, and we increase, you know, barring that it gets accepted at the full council level. $10 increase in the transient mooring fees. So, you know, we've added the shower, so it's kind of this natural progression. Like Peter said, you kind of, you know, add more service, you gotta pay a little bit more, but I still think it's a really good deal. I'm not pricing anybody out.
No, especially for the side of our harbor and everything else we got going on in there. It's a little good deal.
Is there any plan on increasing transient? Southeast is probably not a good place for them. You'll just
So-
sour people, put them out there.
So, yeah, I don't have a specific plan right now for the Inner Harbor. We've got it kind of regridded-ish. That was obviously a topic of discussion, whether you're adding transients by not going on the wait list, probably something that should be revisited. We did add 2 over to the Niles Beach area for larger boats. There was a need, so we added 1. I have another one to add, so it'll be 3 total for larger boats. But I don't have a huge wait list, so I'm not going to add assets that aren't going to be used. Moorings is so expensive now. You're probably looking at $3,500 to have a mooring put in southeast because of the depth of the water and the chain required, which is very, very expensive.
Right, yeah, no, out there would not be ideal
No,
place for a transient mooring.
It's really the Inner Harbor,
Unless it was big
Where is
mooring.
Southeast?
over towards Niles Beach. So, it's the Inner Harbor. That's where everyone. That's where everyone wants to be.
In a harbor, over by
In a harbor, or you know, Smith Cove, or
Good anchorage too.
yeah.
Gloucester residents renting that.
Oh, yeah,
lot.
yeah. So, and that's where people want to be, generally speaking. I would say 95% of our requests are for the Inner Harbor. A lot of reservations are Inner Harbor only, or they don't want it. 10 Pound Island, you know, but really, it's the Inner Harbor is a moneymaker. So anything we can add here is a bonus.
All right, back to the seasonal launch pass. Why don't we make a motion? We'll have a discussion on it. I'll entertain a motion to increase the seasonal launch pass from $150 to $350. It's been moved. Do we have a second?
I second.
Been moved by Peter Feinstein and seconded by Karen. Any discussion on this? It's still a good deal, plain and simple.
Still a good deal.
Yeah.
Really good deal.
All right. There's no other-
How much?
From 150 to 350. That's gonna be under the discretion of the council.
I'm sure this will be.
Yeah, well, we'll have to go up there and,
You know how it's presented to the council is a big part of it too.
Yeah.
To them
yeah,
understanding.
we'll get get some fannies on the seats when it comes time.
I'm the recreational seat if you need me.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll need it.
I'll speak on.
All right, any other discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Bob,
Yes.
Peter Young,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Steve, yes, Peter Feinstein,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
motion passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in favor. All right, next is done budget boat ramp fee.
So this is kind of in our purview, but also has to get approved by the state. And it's pretty cut and dry as far as the fee, right? So it doesn't matter what other towns are doing with boat ramp, it doesn't matter about any of that. It's all about what we spend and what we make. And that's what can determine the fee. Right now, we're just under even. By the time we take in by the time we man it, trash, the head, lawn care, marginal repairs that we make in-house, it's pretty much even money. But we are allowed to have a somewhat of a small surplus to help facilitate other repairs. Right now, it's $8 a foot, or excuse me, $8 per launch. We want to go to 10. I've had a discussion with the state. So long as I can show them the numbers, which we can, of what we expend and what we're taking in, it shouldn't be a problem to have the increase. It still needs to go through the Waterways Board and the city council because it is in the ordinance.
Yeah.
I don't know how technical, I don't know how exactly that works, but we're gonna just cover all our bases. So coming out of public facilities was to go to $10. It is in line with comparable boat ramps in other parts of the state, so it does make sense, and it's a nice even number.
Yeah.
For change wise, we are putting a kiosk down there. We do have the kiosk, which should help us greatly increase what we're collecting on times that it's not staffed. Feel pretty good. So a lot of season passes. We do a much better job than was in the past of collecting the fees for down there because we're selling so many. I have to go to the box every time but
Stuff money in it.
yeah, it'll be a lot easier too when if you don't have a sticker on your car and you don't have a little tag and you didn't pay.
Right.
You know, now it's kind of archaic. You gotta send a guy down there, look at an envelope, read the scratching on it, go through the parking lot and try to match up the envelope to the license plate if they're still there or they're not there, or whatever the case may be. So that's gonna help out. There's some increased costs with that though, so this will help alleviate that. It's not a big money maker. It's pretty much an even running facility and $10 per use. And it was raised the seasonal pass to $100 from 75 to 100.
All right,
So that'll be the motion.
so 8 to 10 and 75 to 100.
No,
TJ,
it's not enough.
from 8 to 10 and 75 to 100.
Correct.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to raise the Dun Fudge boat ramp fee from $8 to $10 per day and $75 to $100 for a season.
So moved.
It's been moved by Phil. We have a second by Peter Feinstein. Any other discussion? Tony? Sir.
Who pays for the kiosk?
Is it gonna be the same kiosk company?
Yeah. So we've had the kiosk and I haven't put the kiosk in for obvious reasons. I was waiting till it all got smooth.
It's out to bid again for the software for the kiosk.
It might be, I don't know. I have the physical kiosk. We have it. We never installed it because all the hiccups with all the other kiosks. They need to add to that mix. But when the time comes and it's all smooth, and I don't know, maybe that's not even this spring. If it's still not square, if the city can't square away the meters on the street, I'm not gonna add to that mess by putting a kiosk down there. But when the time comes, we will have a kiosk to be pretty simple. And the transactions would be pretty simple to rectify at the treasurer's office because it's the only $10 fee there is. So any $10 transactions that come in are for the boat ramp. And it's all GL, it's all coded. They can see where it's coming from.
Right.
I talked to John about it. It's not a big deal, but I don't want to add to the mess. If there's still, I don't know what's going on with that really, but I know there's still some problems. Whenever they're fixed, we'll implement ours.
Would you still man it during the weekends?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Gotta man
Traffic
it.
control.
Yeah, you gotta man it
Yeah.
for traffic. Oh yeah, we're still gonna man. Nothing's gonna change. I just actually expect to have more of better collection. I think we're missing out on, I think if the kiosk is there, it's pretty simple for somebody to drive by and look and be like, okay, these, and we have some we're gonna work with the parking enforcement on that as well. Try to add to, we'll talk to the chief about it, maybe adding that to their loop of areas, because they travel, you know, they go to Plum Cove, they go all over the place. So there might be some, we might have to help out with, you know, pay or something like that, but we're gonna figure that out, more to follow on that.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor for changing from $8 to $10 and $75 to $100 for the season. Any other discussion? All right, roll call vote. Bob,
Yes.
Peter Young,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Steve, yes. Peter Feinstein,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
John.
Yes,
All right, motion passes 7 in favor, and Donna's absent this evening, so 7 in favor, 1 absent. And Leslie, can you make a note? Motions too?
Yep.
All right, great. Next, commercial usage for the public landings.
I'll probably kick this to public facilities once we talk about the other Solomon Jacobs commercial usage. Around some, I don't think there's a vote on this tonight. This was to kick around if we were gonna have some kind of application process or fee attached to all the other landings for commercial use. You know, so it'd be pretty basic information, name of your business, what your business is, adding the city of Gloucester as additionally insured, and keeping that on file.
Yep.
So if somebody gets off charter boat and they're had too much to drink, they fall down. Them, not us. Which is the right way to do it,
Right.
because we got smoked twice this year.
How severely?
Not bad, both were denied, but they're probably, one of them's probably gonna go to, you know, it's probably gonna go to attorneys. We're gonna have to prove that it wasn't negligent on our part, but, or,
The rates to go up.
yeah, they go, and it happens every year. So if these claims are going on to the party in which the person came off of, will stop going on our policy,
Yeah.
and our rate will stop going up. Goes up $1,000, it's gone up $1,000 a year, every year, I've been here. Yeah, we're almost to 11,000 now for our property liability for the launch of the public landings. It's a lot.
So what do you do about the bird shit? When people are slipping on?
Well, if you claim that.
Except your ankles.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we'll refer this out to public facilities. Okay. If you want to try to, we can, when do we do our meetings? On the first week in January? Why don't you try to have a public facilities the second week?
All right, but right now I have it set with Leslie. But I'll.
All right, no, that's good.
That's good.
That's fine. Yeah, that'd be
It's
good.
4 o'clock, January 3rd.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's perfect, because
Yeah,
then,
we gotta set it up like this.
yeah, okay, and I just wanted to let you know, both of you that.
Yep. No, that'd be good, because
Leslie, I checked with Leslie to see if the room was.
Yeah, that's fine.
then we'll have a meeting the week after to get this.
Just have to get an agenda together with Bob and get
So
this
the
thing going.
third, Tony, so that would be a council meeting the following week, right? For you,
But
January 3rd.
January 3rd, no. Oh, Paul.
No, the following week would be a
Yeah.
council.
Yeah.
So-
Steve,
Yeah,
in terms of the agenda, that meeting initially primarily was to review the findings from the inspection of all the public landings.
okay.
Can
We can add to it.
Can we still do that and add this to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather-
Yeah,
Well, yeah, the
put it on.
agenda's not out yet, so.
Yeah, no, we'll put it on. We can put whatever we want on the agenda.
Yeah.
You can even update the agenda the day of.
Okay.
Yeah, so as long as the agenda is published, we can amend it, and revise it as long as up to right before the meeting starts. So
Yeah,
we
city
can-
council would be on the 10th.
Okay, so the 10th.
So that's when you want to have it before full council, so you want it before B and F on the 5th?
What's
Well, the
that?
thing is, we're gonna have to come
Oh.
back for us for vote.
No, this stuff will all go away later. The only thing
So
I,
it's not gonna get before B and F on the 5th either, it's gonna go to.
no, the
council
launch
on the-
will.
No,
The launch has already gone to you guys. It was in the, yesterday.
it wasn't on our agenda last night, I don't think.
It should have been, yeah,
It was?
yeah,
So the mayor's report.
which is just a consent agenda, right, to send it to B and F?
Yeah.
Let me double check, because they kind of, the consent agenda, you don't really.
So this one,
It should have been.
this one not too concerned of getting up to council right away, right? Or are we? Because we can have a meeting, the council's gonna be here on the 10th, so we can have a meeting the following week.
This is no hurry.
All right, so why don't we,
Because once this is all done, probably like February, I'll put all this together to go up at one
All
time.
right, all right. So we might not have a meeting in January if we're just gonna do a public facilities.
Yeah,
Nothing else.
Probably won't be a full meeting in January.
Okay. All right, if we needed one,
Yeah,
all right, I just wanted to get Leslie to book it if we needed one for the 17th, but.
yeah.
Okay, if this isn't a rush. then
It
we'll-
was not on last night's meeting.
No.
Oh, that's not good.
The launch was not?
No, well, it wouldn't be the launch, it would be the loan order.
Yeah, it was amendment.
Well, yeah.
I don't see anything from Harbor Master.
It's maybe came from the treasurer himself, because he wrote the memo.
Oh,
I hope it was, or we are out.
I'm not seeing it. And yeah, see it. Could glossed right over it. What would you do?
How do I go down on this thing?
I just run 2 fingers.
So two amendments for loan order 2021-04 increase from 410,000
Yeah, that's
to
it.
600,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Increase from 410 to 600.
We're not, that's the way to do it, I guess, John
Okay.
said,
All
you,
right.
because you still have to have the appropriation for the full amount. Yeah, but we're not using it. Yeah.
Up to it.
Up to it.
I'll look at the mayor's,
John sent a whole memorandum.
Yeah.
And with it, but we're not using 610,000. It just 410 was earmarked before.
Yeah.
He has to increase it to that, even though 290,000 of it is from a grant. I don't know. I don't want to even talk about it anymore because I don't know about it, but the treasurer does, and that's what he had to do. So, but it's not, we're
Yeah.
not borrowing that much money. It's just.
We're good. It was on the consent agenda.
That's
so
good.
We're good.
So it should go to BNF on,
After they come back from break.
on the 5th.
Yeah.
on the 5th.
So that'll be good. Then I'll go back to council the next, the following week if everything
Yeah, the
goes
10th.
good.
And then I'll ask for a vote for,
And we'll have a reconsideration.
Yeah.
So the 10th, and you need him to have an answer to Alex by the 15th.
December 15th, but I talked to Alex and they're gonna wait till the 10th, but we can't have any hiccups in this.
No, we'll be good.
Like, it can't be like, oh, let's talk about it next month,
Yeah.
or it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
Well, we'll have to
It's
speak.
very tight timeline and.
We'll have to speak with our council liaison to make sure that,
So,
he reaches out to the council.
so we need to have that public hearing advertised ahead of time.
ASAP.
Okay.
That public hearing needs to be advertised, how many?
We have to have it here at the.
No.
Oh, so it has to be.
No, it's city
for the
council.
council. Okay.
Which means my first stop tomorrow is John's office to find out about the public hearing.
Yeah, John, and then go see Joanne.
I think
Yeah.
it's gotta get put, is it 10 days in advance?
I would get it right away.
Yeah,
I'll
just
just
put
put
it
it on.
away. Just put it
Well,
on.
you'd have to,
For the 10th.
Because usually you guys wait till it goes to BNF and then they put out a public hearing and it skips the council, but we don't have time for that.
No, we can, what Joanne can do is she can schedule it for the 10th.
right,
And then it'll be on, and once it's on the agenda, if it doesn't go through for some reason, it'll go on. 2 weeks. Continued, so it won't have to get re-advertised. So once it's on the agenda, it'll be fine. So why don't we go with Joanne tomorrow?
I'm gonna,
Tell her to play public if we can.
yeah, we'll have to go through Val too.
Okay. Yeah.
She'll have to. They not,
Yeah,
as you probably would have too. when you were-
TJ can reach out to her and let her know.
Yeah.
yeah, we can't miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not,
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
they've already like pulled a few
If you can
favors.
talk to, I don't know what you want to do, if you can talk to her, but TJ, you should reach out to her too.
Yeah, no, I can,
There's no
I can
envelopes.
talk to them.
All right,
No,
all right, if I need to reach out. to
because
her,
like
too, I'll-
everyone wants that launch.
I know,
Like a
but like I said,
Oh, Robert, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, not a
No,
problem.
dude, it's,
You
people
gotta-
knocking down the door for this thing, yeah,
Not a
okay,
problem.
so.
all right, so that's that from Solomon Jacob, I'm sorry, commercial uses, public landing. Any other discussion, not anticipated?
Move to adjourn.
Yeah,
Oh,
Any of those?
Supposed to text somebody, tell them to order the pizza.
Where you get pizza from?
Delaney's.
Oh, if they're not sold out.
All right, we got a motion to adjourn on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We gotta do a roll call vote. Bob? Peter?
Yes.
Aaron? Steve, yes. Peter?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
We adjourn.
Bye, guys.
All right.
All right.